Welcome to IVC Management 12A. I call it business law, legal aspects of business. Those names are usually interchangeable. We're going to trek through tonight. I have three goals for you. We're going to go for an hour. I'm going to keep to that time for you. And again, thank you for those of you that are here live. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I had a lot of emails come in. Oh, I have class that night. I've got to work and that kind of thing. This class is an asynchronous class, so I can't actually require you to be here at a specific day or time. So I will be posting this recording for those that can't make it. But I want to make sure that this time that we do have together, you take the time to be here for it to be super purposeful. So my goals for you, I mentioned I have three goals. One, I want to give you a little bit of background on me, kind of where I'm coming from. Not because I love talking about myself, but I want you to kind of hear where my perspective comes from and that experience comes from, so that when you're learning this semester, that you have some context there. I also, so a little bit about me. Second thing, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the class so that you know exactly what is expected of you in the class. And then lastly, if your goal is to get an A in here, I want to show you exactly how to get an A in this class. One of the things I appreciate about community college, not just that I get to teach full time as my job, but I don't have to fill like some sort of grade quota. So like when I was in my MBA program at Cal State Fullerton, I actually had a teacher tell me, hey, in this class, I can only give out 6 A's. So it doesn't matter if you score enough points, you have to be in the top 6 to get that A still. So thankfully, we don't have to do that at IVC. When I go through the requirements for the class tonight, I'll give you a very clear expectation, or show you very specifically what's expected of you. And then if you accomplish all those goals, basically it's a math problem. And one of the things I appreciate, and how I've built my classes, I hope you appreciate it too, is that everybody has an equal opportunity to get an A in this class. And I'll show you exactly how to do that tonight. So first up, a little bit about me. I just shared that I did, after undergrad, I was working in real estate full time. I did that for 9 years. And as I was doing business every day, day in and day out, sales, customer service, and all that stuff that comes with any ownership of a business, I realized that I didn't know everything about business. And so I wanted to go back to learn about business. I also wanted the opportunity maybe to teach business in the future. So I went back to OCC after my bachelor's degree, Orange Coast College, and started taking some business calc, business law I had to take in the summer. And I took some of those classes in preparation, went into my master's in business at Cal State Fullerton. After I finished that, I made the decision to transition, and overlapping that, I started teaching part-time at nights. And so after that, getting my master's degree in business, I realized that I was really enjoying the teaching. Just it was much more fulfilling for me than the day in and day out sales of business ownership. And so I transitioned at that point, worked 4 years administratively for a university. During that time, was able to complete a doctorate program from the university. So I have a doctorate in education, and organizational change and leadership. And started at that point then full-time teaching. So I've been at IVC for 9 years, actually. I'm in my 10th year right now. Going, we have a great institution. I love being at IVC. We have amazing supports for students. I love the fact that I just get to teach you full time. I don't have to worry about publishing and research, which you will see in your future at a 4-year university or Cal State or UC. There's a lot more emphasis on research and publishing. And sometimes maybe you won't have the best teachers. So I hope that you're living up this experience at IVC. I can look back at my 2 years out of high school at Long Beach City College, where I grew up, and I had some of my best teachers at LBCC before going on into my bachelor's program. I'm also the first person in my family to go to college. I'm the youngest of all sisters, and so my parents, my sisters, I'm the only one that went through for any college degree. So I had to jump in and kind of figure it out as I went. And so I really appreciate, again, the focus that we have on service to you, our students at IVC, and basically helping you reach your goals, whatever those goals are, if they're transfer or getting a job. In addition to teaching business here at IVC, I also head up the real estate department, teach real estate classes as well. So if any of you are interested in potentially selling real estate someday, you need a license to do that. And this class actually accounts for, or can count for, one of the 3 classes that you need to take your salesperson's exam. You can use business law as your elective for the Department of Real Estate exam requirements. So that's a little bit about me. Everything I do when I'm teaching, everything I do is focused on practical use for you. I do not give you any, what do you call it? Like when you're just like wasting time, like, oh, why are we doing this? This is such a waste of time. And I'll go ahead and start sharing screen here, and I'll show you a little bit about what the class is about, how we're focused, what the schedule is looking like. I will first pull up, well, let me show you Canvas first. I'm hoping that most of you have been in Canvas. I'm going to show you really quick what that interaction looks like. Sorry, my computer's not showing my browser. Thank you. So here's what our Canvas shell looks like for you. I'm in student view here, so it looks pretty similar to what you will see. You'll see that the menu on the left is very simple. And actually, I don't even know where these came from. Those are some automatic things that Canvas put in. I keep my organization very, very simple. Not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's simple on purpose, so you can navigate the Canvas shell well. Again, purposefully, efficiently. That's what I'm looking to do here for you. You'll see here on the home page, there's a link to the syllabus. Again, we're going to look through this in just a second. You'll see here links to Zoom. I do have office hours for a couple hours on Thursday. I was on campus today, 2 to 4, if you want to see me on campus. But by far the fastest way to get me is by email. I've been self-employed in some way or another since I was 18. From 18 till, gosh, on and off till 24 or something. Being self-employed, I made balloon animals and hats at restaurants and parties. And actually made decent money while I was going to school. So in some way or another, I've been self-employed for many, many years. And so when I'm looking at this and I'm sharing this with you, again, practical function here, but also I kind of had that mindset of being self-employed. And so emails, like I'll check emails late at night. I can't promise you you're gonna get a reply in the middle of the night, but I try to reply back very quickly to emails. But if you want to chat, I'm here as well. Wednesdays, again, 2 to 4 on campus. Thursdays, 10 to 1 on Zoom. Use that link. And if those times don't work for you, just let me know when you're available, and I'll try to connect with you. Just jumping straight in here and what you need to do. You'll see here on this homepage, the course summary. This is a little overwhelming to me personally, but this is kind of the default view that Canvas has. This shows you basically every assignment for the semester. So you can look at this and go, what in the world? This is insane. A little bit more control over here on the modules tab. I mean, again, you'll see the simpleness of this menu, right? Homepage we just saw. The announcements is literally just the announcements. You should be getting these in your email. If by chance you're not getting these announcements in your email, please go to Account and click on Notifications. On this Notifications tab, you select how you want to get the information out of Canvas. It can be by email, it can be by text. You can actually select in there if you want to get an update on your grade immediately, or at the end of the day, or at the end of the week. If announcements, if you want to get those in your email or your text messages, again, immediately at the end of the day. There's a lot of control for the user, for you, on how you want to get your information. And then there's this modules tab, and that's pretty much it. Your grades, obviously, you can check your grades in there, and we'll talk about this in just a minute, McGraw-Hill Connect. So here's the schedule more week to week. I'm hoping this is a little bit more kind of bite size for you. I will upload this video in this, a recording of this video in the section right here after tonight. But we're in week 1 right now. Welcome to fall. And so we're plugging away on this list. I have a lecture video in here for chapter 1, kind of an intro to the class. Here is in McGraw-Hill Connect. Again, you can see Purchase, Connect, Access, McGraw-Hill. I'll say right now, if you cannot afford to buy this Connect Access right now, or if you need to buy your access through the bookstore and you're going to have it mailed to you, which can take a week or 2 weeks, I've heard from students, uh, you can click McGraw-Hill Connect. We'll talk about this in a minute. And there's a free 2-week trial. So do not let money slow your roll into this class. Please get in there, start working on this stuff so that you can get a jump start into this week. This is week 1. On Sunday night, you'll see the schedule here. Several assignments are due. You can see the due dates right here. So Smart Book, if you've never used McGraw-Hill Connect, you haven't taken a business class. Most of the business classes at IVC use McGraw-Hill Connect. Their system just is kind of the best one that's out there. So we use a lot of them in business. If you've never used it, I give you point. This is how to use the Smart Book. But you can see right here, Chapter 1 Smart Book, I actually give you points for reading your book. Can you believe that? And then you have a quiz that you take at the end of that chapter. I give you points for that quiz. And guess what? You can take it over and over again. I also give you points for discussion. Since we're not meeting in person in a classroom where we're discussing and talking about things openly, we kind of duplicate that function here online, again, asynchronously. And so I give you until Thursday of each week for you to make your initial post. And then from Thursday to Sunday, basically, you have time to respond to 2 other classmates in that discussion board. But on Sunday, when the quiz is due, 11:59 p.m., when the chapters reading is due, this discussion will close down and you won't be able to participate after that point because the whole class is going on to week 2 discussion. Okay. And so, come Monday, you're like, oh, I forgot, I missed it, I was sick, my uncle died. Sorry to make light of that, but I get those, those notes all the time. Come Monday, the whole class is out of that room. You'd be sitting in a room talking to yourself, right? Come Monday, on this discussion. So I do hold pretty firm on these due dates. Guess what? You guys are going into business. Doing things when you're required to do them, doing things when you're expected to do them, showing up for work on time, are all really important traits to learn in business, especially in business, if not in any other, industry. So I'm going to hold you to some of these business expectations as you're learning about business and business law. I'll make a note here too. I come from business. I come from entrepreneurship. I come from, managerial perspective and administrative perspective, in addition to teaching. So when I'm looking at these things and I'm asking you to do these things, right? Most of the times, if you show up and get your job done, you get your paycheck, right? If you stop showing up, if you show up late, I want you to start learning these necessary requirements in business. So that's our week 1. You go into week 2, you see a similar setup. I have additional links that we might, if we were sitting in class together, we would discuss some of these things. In the lecture, I discuss them. And then there's some additional links in there. Again, Smart Book, Chapter 2. Quiz, Chapter 2. Week 2 discussion, right? You're seeing some repetition here, some similarities to week 1. And then we do add in an exercise. So what I do with exercises basically is I give you a little bit of real life perspective coming from the content that we're learning that week. And so in this chapter of the book, Chapter 2, in this lecture, we're talking about the court system. We're talking about some of the legalities in business and when it comes down to personal speech, freedom of speech, commercial speech. So I have you do an exercise related to that. Again, it's a real life, kind of more practical function of this concept this kind of theory that you're learning about from the book. And so again, I want you to think about this stuff practically. Again, you'll see all Sunday deadlines. The discussion board is dated for Thursday night for your initial posts, and then until Sunday for those 2 responses. Then on to week 3. You can see again, super simple on the left, right, for our menu, but week to week, very consistent in what the requirements are for the class. Again, if you have questions as I'm chatting, I'm trying to also review those. My Zoom is kind of acting a little funky, so I'm not seeing any chats right now, but I'll make sure to check them. So that's what Canvas looks like. So as you jump into week 1 this week, here's what you need to do. You're here, those of you that are here live, awesome. Thanks for taking the time to be here. If you can't be here live, you're watching this video, right? You need to purchase this Connect Access. Again, if you don't have the money right now or you're relying on a bookstore credit system, order that, but get into McGraw-Hill Connect. We're going to look at this next and get going on this free access that you have for 2 weeks. I don't want money to be a barrier for you to miss out on these points immediately in week 1. So jump in there. Again, it's free to start. Here's the lecture video. My lectures, again, focus on the content that we're talking about in chapter 1 or in chapter 2, right, in week 2. My lectures take some of the content out of those chapters and really kind of hone in on real life stuff. So when you leave this class, I've had students reach out to me after they transfer to Cal State Fullerton. They say, Rick, your class helped me succeed in my bachelor's in business at Fullerton. Because I'm not asking you to like memorize definitions about business law. I'm not having you read through and define cases about law, which my teachers did in business law. We talked about legal cases all day long. This is a business class. I come from business and I want to teach you about business. But guess what? Behind business is law. This is not a law class. I'm not a lawyer, right? So I'm teaching you the business perspective of law as it pertains to running a business, owning a business, being a manager in a business. All right. This stuff, if you really want to do well, not just in your upper level classes when you transfer, but I'm hoping that this class actually helps you in the real world too. That's what my lectures focus on. So hopefully that will motivate you a little bit to watch those. Let's check out McGraw-Hill Connect, and then we'll take a look at the syllabus. So when you click on this link in Canvas, it maps you into our section in McGraw-Hill Connect. You'll see very simple, pretty easy to use system. Click begin, it takes you to another page. Sorry. So because I'm logged in as not a real student, it's giving me an error here. But you being a real student in this class will give you an option. You'll see this class information. You'll see Management 12A Business Law. And you'll be able to select, free trial, free 2 weeks, or register now, or use a code, right? If you buy a code from the bookstore at IVC. If you have credit at the IVC bookstore and you can go buy a code, if you can do it in person, I really suggest you do that. If you have to use the bookstore and buy the code from the bookstore, that's fine. If you have to have it mailed to you, again, just make sure you understand it's going to be a week to 2 weeks before you get that code in the mail. And literally they're sending you a piece of paper in the mail that has a printed code on it that then you will enter into the McGraw-Hill Connect system. But again, don't let that stop you from jumping in free 2-week trial right now after this link. So again, I'm sorry, it's a little funky because of how I'm logged in here. But again, very easy to use. It's pretty user-friendly. This shouldn't be confusing for you to get into Connect. If you have questions, I can try to answer those. But they have their own tech support too. And so they're really good at helping out. And they're open to like 1 or 3 a.m. or something sometimes, because they know that students, kind of do your schoolwork in all hours of the night. So next up, we'll look at the syllabus. So I showed you exactly what you need to do for this week, what you need to accomplish, what's expected of you this week. Let's look at that syllabus, and I can give you a picture of the schedule and the points. And again, my third goal for you tonight is how to accomplish your goals. If you want to get an A in this class, I want to show you how to get an A in this class. So if I can get a thumbs up, I can't see it yet. There it comes up. I think I'm still in Canvas. And so I'm hoping that you can still see what I'm seeing on screen, which is the front page of the syllabus. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see that? Anybody? Bueller? 1 thumbs up. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, there's a couple more. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're alive there on the other side of the internet. Oh, and there is one chat. Oh, just popped up with a yes exclamation point. Thank you for your excitement. I love it. All right, so here's our syllabus. I'm going to start, excuse my quick scrolling here. I'm going to start on the last page of the syllabus because this gives you a real kind of snapshot view. A little less overwhelming than Canvas, right? Where you're seeing every single assignment due for every week. This is just a weekly overview. And I give you some good dates in here that we'll talk about. So here's our general schedule. This class should not be overwhelming for you. For me, again, consistency in the class and how I'm giving you the content, consistency in the schedule is really important. You'll see that pretty much we have one chapter a week, right? That means you're reading a chapter, you're taking a quiz on a chapter, you're doing a discussion board and or doing an exercise every week. Those are the main requirements in this class. Again, we'll look at those points in a second. One of the things I've done with the schedule of this class, not only have I spread out the chapters, but I've also given you smaller exams. So instead of doing like one big kind of mid-semester test and then a final exam, like a midterm and a final, I've actually broken up into 3 exams for this class. So you'll see the first 5 chapters, and then we have exam number 1, chapters 1 through 5. As you scroll down, you'll see another group of chapters, and there's exam number 2. In these exams, I already mentioned that weekly, you basically have until Sunday to get your work done. Those discussions, I want to see that initial post by Thursday. On the exams, I give you a 3-day window to get that exam done. So again, you'll see I've built into this system, into my class, quite a lot of flexibility from week to week. You have a whole week to do your reading and your quizzes. When you're texting me at Sunday night at 11:45 p.m. and you're like, "Oh, I didn't get the quiz done. I had internet issues today." It's like, "Oh, what about the other 6 days of the week that you missed?" You know what I mean? And so I tend to be really strict on my due dates because guess what? If you call your boss at 11:59, the night before you have a great big presentation, and you're like, "Oh, sorry, boss, I didn't get the presentation done." I mean, what's going to happen, right? I mean, maybe you get a warning. Maybe there's understanding. Yeah, it happened the first time. I understand. But at some point, if that's consistent, you're going to get an F in the class, right? Or you're going to get fired from your job. Um, and so I stick to these due dates pretty closely because I give you so much flexibility within the system. Again, exam 1, Monday to Wednesday. It's a 3-day window to get that exam done. Which again, I'm giving you some time to study. I'm giving you time to get in there and get it done. I've mentioned that the chapter readings and the chapter quizzes, you have, basically the whole week to get them done, multiple attempts. The exams, you only get the 1 attempt though. All of the questions are pulling from pools of questions. So every student gets a different exam, basically. I hand choose those questions. So they are in some sense randomized, but they're all randomized from a pool of questions that are more purposeful and focused on what we've been learning in that section. I don't want these exams to be busy work. I don't try to trip you up. My goal is to not have you fail an exam. The exam is really an overview of those chapters to make sure that you're connecting with that content. Exam number 3, although it's at the end of the class, you might call it a final exam. You see it as not cumulative. It's only covering a handful of chapters at the end. And so again, this point systems, we'll look at the points right now, are really spread out. Sorry, I just noticed I have a week in here for spring break. I updated the syllabus, but it's not here. So this schedule is going to get slightly updated here because we don't have spring break in fall. Sorry about that. I'll update that and put it up in Canvas. Here are the points. Again, there's a diversity of points here. Not only do I give you this window of time to get things done for the quizzes and I call them chapter assignments. That's your reading, the smart book. Those are 8 points each. You can see that just by reading the book and taking the chapters, if you want to get an A in this class, you'll take those chapter quizzes over and over again until you get 100%, right? Look at that. It's over 30% of your grade. Just in that, you have total control over that. Yeah, it takes some time, but guess what? You're in a college class. It's going to take some time. You also have total control over your discussion points, right? Again, it takes some time. I'll make a note of the discussions now that there is no right or wrong answers in your discussion boards. All of the discussion questions that I give you, I've made them up. And so I'm hoping that they're a little bit harder for AI to also answer for you, because I'm asking your opinion on these questions. I pick out from the week, except for week 1, I'm just asking about you and why you're in the class. But when we look at the content of chapter 2, chapter 3, as we move on into the class, I'm pulling out a concept from that chapter and I'm asking your opinion about that concept. That's what the discussion board is. I'm asking your opinion and why. And that's the important thing I want to stress is I want you to answer the why. I do have a rubric that shows you kind of what's expected of you, basically like a 3 to 4 sentences. Think about having a conversation with me in class or with a classmate next to you in class. You're not just going to say, I like food. Like you're going to talk about your answer. You're going to express why you believe in that answer. Right. And so I'm looking for, more quality over quantity, but I do have some quantity guidelines in there. Again, usually 3 to 4 sentences if you want the full points for those. So again, you have total control over this. It's not a matter of whether I like you or not. You get to voice your opinion, support your opinion, and you're getting points. The exercises, again, I mentioned these. Again, this is as a reminder, I just mentioned a little bit ago. I'm saying mentioned a lot. I'm sorry. This is a assignment that if we were in person, you would be doing like maybe in a small group, or you'd be doing with me, or you'd be answering questions in class. But it's a perspective of real life overlapping this content that you're learning that week. That's what the exercises are. They're usually like a 1 page, maybe 3 or 4 questions on a page, or there's a scenario, and I'm asking you to express, again, about the concepts that you learned that week. Not meant to be difficult. Just formulated to, again, help guide you through that content in a more purposeful manner, not just reading it on a screen. Again, you have a week to do these every time when they're there. It's not whether I like you or not. You have the total opportunity to earn those points. The exams. Now, on the exams, especially exam 1, because you don't know what to expect. You probably have never had me as a teacher before, and you don't know what this test is going to look like. I always have students come after exam 1 and like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to do so much better. I want to encourage you to study. You only get 1 attempt on these exams, and they are timed. So and the purpose for that is because I don't want you to be Googling every answer, right? I want you to actually prepare for these exams. You do not have enough time in these exams to look up every answer. So you have to prepare for them. But again, they're only on a small batch of chapters, 5 to 7 chapters. I think the largest one is exam 2. So this is the big unknown, right? Maybe you're a bad test taker. Maybe you get test anxiety. Maybe you had a really busy week. You were sick all week. You don't feel well. You couldn't prepare well. All those things, right? Notice that the total of your exams for this class is a total of 30%. So if you worked really hard each week and you read each chapter and you did the quizzes over and over again and got 100% on your quizzes, and then you do the exercises in the discussion boards, right? I'm not saying it's easy. It's a time commitment. It's work. Welcome to the world of business. That's the majority. You could do just that, take no exams, well, and get a high D in the class, right? But I'm trying to emphasize a point here. If you have test anxiety, you have a hard time with tests, you don't have to get an A on every test to get an A in this class. I hope that's encouraging to you, right? So I've really tried to diversify these points so that if you have a bad week, if you have a hard week at work, you got family stuff going on, you're carrying, 20 units in school, whatever that is, that one bad week is not going to dictate your final grade. Now, if you have 10 bad weeks, that will definitely hurt your final grade, right? If you miss all 3 exams, that's definitely going to hurt your grade. You'll end up with a D at best in this class. But that one bad exam, that one bad week, right? That alone is not going to make you, I mean, you could still earn an A if you do the math on these categories. So I'm hoping that's, again, I want that to be encouraging to you. again, I want to emphasize with work, with business, showing up and getting your stuff done is like a huge part of your job, right? Going above and beyond, you want to get a promotion. Well, that's going to take a little bit more, right? But what I'm asking you in this class is to start looking at and growing in those skills of making good habits. Maybe that's time management for you. If you don't have the tools that you need for what I'm explaining to you, like if you have spotty internet or maybe your technology um, is glitchy or whatever, we have tools for you at IVC. Please let me know if you feel comfortable doing that. Or worst case, go to ivc.edu, the website. There is a ton of student support for you at the college. There's Wi-Fi hotspots if you need it. There's technology for you to use for the semester if you need it. I've given you flexibility in the weekly assignments, the timing of these. I've given you flexibility in kind of the different variations of assignments you can do. Um, I'm also giving you a lot of flexibility in what technology you use. I have some students that will do all of their assignments on Google Docs um, that you get free being an IBC student, right? You have to submit those in a PDF or a doc file so I can see them in Canvas, but you can do it in free Google Docs. I have some students that will complete the whole class on a tablet or from a library computer or from your smartphone even. It's going to be a little bit harder just because you have to like zoom in to read stuff, but it can be done. I have students that complete all of my coursework on a phone. So all of this flexibility, again, I'm hoping that you can uh, accomplish your goals in this class with these different ways of doing it. Here's an overview of the exams. Again, here's all the points for the class already scheduled in Canvas. You can go see them all. Here's an explanation. I just kind of talked to, but there's some more verbiage there on the exams. The exercises and the discussions, again, the focus of those and what those are for. Your quizzes and your chapter reading, again, those are all done in that Connect system. Free 2-week trial. If you didn't hear it the first couple times I said it, jump in there, earn those points this week. And again, I told you up front, I do hold pretty firm that late work will not be accepted. Now, if you're hospitalized and you have a doctor's note showing me like, hey, I don't want to hear about your personal stuff, right? I'm not asking for, you know, your x-rays. But you can get a letter from a doctor that says, this student was in the hospital from this date to this date, or excused from school from this date to this date or something, if you're dealing with, a serious medical condition. I'm not like totally like heartless, right? But I do have consistency in the class regarding late work. Again, here's another note to it. All of the grading is done. This is an IVC table. So this is not Rick Boone. This is IVC, the college. You notice that there are not pluses and minuses on these letter grades, which I actually really like. Pluses and minuses are such a pain. So if you score an 89% at the end of this class in 16 weeks, at the end of Canvas, it says total points and it says 89%. That means you earned a B. That's not me being mean. That's just, your effort, your points that you earned in the semester. I have taken the emotion out of this grading thing, and I'm giving you points for you doing your work, is what it comes down to here, right? So again, if your goal is to get an A in this class, this is what you're aiming at, 90% or more. And it could be 90.0, but at 90%, there's your A, right? Now look back, see what that looks like here. You know what you need to do to accomplish that A now. I do reserve the right to change the syllabus. I've been teaching this class for years, and I don't foresee this ever happening. And I have never, ever changed my syllabus where it has hurt a student. I'll say that, right? So any changes that I have to make or something it's not going to negatively affect you. I mentioned support for you as a student. We have a ton of resources. I'll say it again at IVC for you. If you have some sort of learning challenges, again, feel free to chat with me, but your best call is going to be to this office. There's a lot of information on the website about this office. They are there to help support your learning. If you need help with instructional assistance. I don't know if they give assistance that's specific to business, but if you're having challenges with writing or with time management, those kind of things, there is help here for you. I mentioned technology. If you are like, you can't afford, groceries this week, there's a pantry on campus to help you get food. If you need somewhere to sleep and you're just in a hard spot, um, there's some resources on campus for you for that. So there's a lot. And I realize that one of the things I love about community college is that no matter where you're coming from, you could have $1 million in the bank, you could have no dollars in the bank. You're getting the same education and the same access to this information. So I love that kind of equalizer that community college can be. And so, again, just a ton of support there at the college for you. Here are the two systems. We've talked about them already, but I'm going to highlight them again. We have to have Canvas access, which we've already seen that, and how that's laid out with the menu on the left and very clear week by week links and assignments. We also have the other required system is McGraw-Hill Connect. Again, we have the link in Canvas there on the left to jump in and register for that class. Again, if you don't have the money right now, 2-week free trial, there for you. Jump in there as soon as you can. It's already Wednesday this week. I have to drop people by Thursday, Friday. If you're not showing up or if you're not doing your work, I'm legally required to. So if you have an on-ground class, if you didn't know this and you don't show up to class, the teacher has to drop you if you don't show up in the first week. If you didn't know that, now you know. Some class guidelines. Mainly this is some kind of here's some blanket information for you to know, but attendance and participation are key. I'm going to ask that you be in Canvas. I mean, you're going to be in Canvas once a week if you want to earn those points, right? At least once or twice a week if you want to earn those points. The quizzes and Connect, you're going to have to be reading that stuff. You're going to have to be doing the quizzes for those points. Again, if you've never used McGraw-Hill Connect, I have that assignment in the week 1 module that says Smart Book How To, and it actually shows you how to use that system and how to read. It seems silly to say teach you how to read, but I do have students here and there that will come back and say, I've been reading all of the chapters and I don't have any points. Well, the Smart Book system is having you read and answer questions. It's more interactive. I have students that like it. They'll tell me, hey, I like this system. It actually is easier for me to read than flipping through pages. But you have to use the system how it's designed to work, if that makes sense, right? You have to use it properly to get your points. So if you've never used SmartBook, please do use that SmartBook How To in the week 1 module. Again, you'll see the hard copy textbook is optional. Now, if you want to hold a book in your hand and read the pages, I actually prefer that personally. I get it, but it's the Connect access that is going to be giving you the quizzes, right? The interactive reading part and those points. You'll see here as well that this is required, right? If you do buy a package from the bookstore, they do have this access code that you can use to get into Connect. They also have a package that has the code and a loose leaf hard copy pared down textbook that is cheaper than if you're just buying a book. So if you do prefer to hold paper in hand and read that way, there is a loose leaf version that you have in the bookstore that you can buy with the code that will allow you kind of a cheaper access to the hard copy book if you prefer that. Here are some links for you: Student Success Center, Adobe Acrobat, right? Some of explanation of how you get into your free software online stuff. I mentioned Google. I think it's Google Docs that you get. Maybe it's also Microsoft Office. Maybe I misspoke. Maybe it's just Microsoft Office. But you have access to technology, just being a student, free for you at IDC. Excuse me. All right, keep moving on. So drop policy. Tell you a little personal note here. After I got my bachelor's degree, and after my wife got her bachelor's degree, we got married pretty much right after college. And in her art classes, she learned how to weld. And so I saw an opportunity at Orange Coast College to take welding. I was like, I want to learn how to weld. And so I signed up for welding, started showing up to class. And after like 2, 3 weeks, I started getting really, really busy at work. And I was self employed. So guess what? When work is busy, you're going to work as hard as you can to make as much money as possible. I stopped going to welding. And of course, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, I'm not showing up to class anymore. The teacher's going to drop me. That did not happen. And so when it came time for me to actually apply for my MBA program at Cal State Fullerton, they said, hey, why is there an F on your transcript? And I said, an F? And well, I never got an F. They said, yeah, look, you took welding and you got an F. And it was like, slap yourself in the head, like, oh my gosh. So I had to go through a bunch of hoops, and eventually was able to get that F removed, after how many years? I forgot how many years it had to be or whatever. All that to say, it was a big pain in the butt. It was a real challenge for me to get rid of that F. I assume in this class that you are in this class. And if you want out of this class, you have to drop yourself. If any point in my history of teaching, I have dropped a student, almost always they come back and they say, why did you drop me? I didn't want to be dropped. Well, you weren't doing your work for 3 weeks in a row. No, I was going to come back. I was sick. I was in the hospital. I was out of the country, whatever it is, right? So I do not, if you're in this class and you're active in Canvas this week and I mark you here, again, if you're not here, you're a no-show. I have to drop you in week 1. After that point, you are in this class unless you drop yourself. Please understand that. I have really changed that policy and stick to this policy because I have only had it help students. I do have students come back mid-semester and they're like, oh my gosh, how can I pass this class? At the end of the class and you get an F and you're like, how do I pass the class? There's not much I can do for you, right? But if you're meeting with me and you're saying, hey, we have 8 weeks, 9 weeks left. How can I right this ship, right? Like, how do I finish out and actually pass the class? We can have a conversation and I can probably give you some guidance on how to do that. But if you're going to drop, you're going to stop showing up and you're going to stop doing all your work, do yourself a favor and drop, please. I'm not doing it for you. This is a fully online class, so you are expected again to be online. You will be in Canvas at least once. I'm hoping more, for your own points, your own sake, more than once a week. You will be in in McGraw-Hill Connect as well, probably several times a week. But again, there's flexibility there, right? You can do McGraw-Hill Connect and read and do the quizzes on your phone. You can access Canvas on your phone if you need to. So this flexibility I'm giving you from week to week, I'm hoping that you take advantage of that to help yourself, right? And I'm guessing that's probably why you're in an online section. Anyway, student learning outcomes, I have to put these in here. Basically, these are like a list of things that you're kind of expected to learn as you come out of the class, or it's the goal for you to learn them. This is copy and pasted out of the catalog. Talks about what this class is, what the focus is. Here's our information for this class we're starting this week. We end mid-December. I have these in here for a reference, but please do use, I think you guys are still using my site. We're changing systems next year, but I think it's still my site right now. In there will be these dates too. Please confirm these dates. If it comes time for you, you're like, oh, I cannot finish this work. I got to drop. Here are some dates for you to see. Here's my phone number. This goes to my office, which means I get an email of your voicemail, which I can respond to. Again, for the quickest reply, use my email address, please. For your own sake, Friday night, send me an email because I'm probably not going to get to you until, yeah, you know what? The syllabus did not update. I'm sorry. These hours are incorrect. Wednesday, 2 to 4 on campus. Thursday, 10 to 1 on Zoom. I will update the syllabus after this meeting tonight and make sure that the active real one is in Canvas tonight. So those are 2 changes. My office hours, again, Wednesday, 2 to 4 on campus, Thursday, 10 to 1 on Zoom, or by appointment. Again, if you're working full-time and you're like, hey, there's no way, I can do that on my lunch break or whatever, just send me an email and say, hey, can you chat Monday at noon. That's when my lunch is. And I'll do what I can to make that work. So this will be updated tonight. And then also that schedule we saw on page 6. I don't want to scroll like crazy on your screen. I will update that schedule to take off this spring break. So some of those dates will be adjusted. But again, everything is in Canvas. All of the dates and the weekly modules are all correct in Canvas, unless I missed something completely random. But it all should be in there, all set up to go. Woo! There was no chat questions. I've been talking at you for almost 50 minutes. I don't like to do that, but it is what it is. If you have any questions, please raise your hands. Please use the chat, and I will be happy to answer some of those. Hello, Rick. I saw an email that we will occasionally have Zoom meetings, but what time and day these meetings will be held? How often would it be? Thank you. So again, I'll reiterate, this is an asynchronous online class, right? So I cannot require you to be in a Zoom meeting at a specific day or a specific time. If I'm able to do a Zoom, sometimes I throw out a Zoom and say, hey, I know my office hours are Wednesdays and Thursdays, but if you happen to be available on a Tuesday night, I'll be online. Let me know if you have any questions. Sometimes when I'm updating some of the lecture videos and I want to lecture on a chapter, I will say, hey, class, this week, I'm going to be covering chapter 10 online live. If you want to come join me and you're able to, come join me live. So it's really a week by week type of Zoom thing. You saw when we looked at the modules in Canvas, I have a lot of lecture videos that are posted. This is an online class. Largely, you're going to be watching recordings. But if there's a live thing that I can do and it works with your schedule, it's going to be scheduled kind of week by week. So you'll just look for those announcements. At minimum, I'm going to be sending you one announcement every week on Monday mornings. By default, every Monday morning, I'm reminding you what you need to get done that week. Occasionally, I'll send out another announcement just to give you a heads up about something. But usually it's like maybe twice, rarely maybe a third announcement a week. I realize that you are busy. You probably have a full school schedule, a lot of you. If not, you're working, you got family you're helping out and dealing with. Like I've got kids, I homeschool my kids, my wife, largely homeschools, but I help. And there's always stuff going on, right? Like we all have lives outside of this classroom. So it's not my goal to like push you too hard or to I don't believe that this is your only commitment in life, right? This class. And so all those recordings are there so that you have access, you have flexibility of your learning. But again, if I'm able to do anything in addition to that, that's like weekly and timely, I will make sure to announce it through Canvas for you to see. Any other questions? You're very welcome. So I'm gonna wait for like another minute. Okay, some more chats coming in. Perfect. And then I'll answer these questions, and then at some point I'll end. We still have a couple minutes left. 5-8 minutes with you, and then I'll stop the recording. And then with nobody as a witness, you can ask me whatever you want. Aside from business law and real estate courses, do you teach any other courses? Awesome. I appreciate you asking. I hope you have a great experience with me. I hope I'm your best teacher you ever have. I want you to leave IVC like, oh man, Rick Boone was amazing. He was the best teacher ever. I hope I am that for you. We have awesome teachers at IVC though. I do teach 12A regularly. I do teach another business class called 125, Management 125, which is organizational behavior. And that's the second 8 weeks. So if you need another 3 units, but you can't handle it right now, in the second 8 weeks, that class starts, Management 125. And then I usually teach several real estate classes. So if you're interested in all in real estate, kind of the foundational course is real estate principles. All of those classes are set up first and second 8 weeks. They're only 8 weeks long. All of the real estate classes are 8 weeks long. And so if you want to come in again at the second half of the semester, I'll be teaching principles. I think maybe practice as well as another one that I teach, in addition to Management 125. Awesome. Oh, you're welcome. No question, but thank you for the information. I am stoked that you're excited. Again, my whole goal in this is for you to learn out of this, not to give you busy work. Not to, check I got an A on a test and now, you get credit for your, I mean, yeah, I want you, if you want an A, I want you to get an A. If you want to get a C because you're working full time and at night and, you're supporting your family and having to do college at the same time, I've been there. I get it. And you're lucky to get a C to pass this class. Like, how can I help you do that? So whatever that goal is for you, I want to support you in that. And I'm happy you're here to learn with me. And again, if there's something that I'm doing and you're like, hey, Rick, you said you want to be my best teacher and you're failing. If there's something I can do better, let me know. I do occasionally go on to like rate my professors just because I know it's kind of like uncensored and it's anonymous. And so I'll go on there just to see like, oh man, are students like secretly hating me or like, what can I do better? Right. Like I hope to do the best job possible for you. So hopefully that's practical understanding of business in this class. I don't see any more questions on chat. We're about 5 minutes shy of an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And I'll stay on for a few more minutes, though. If you want to ask any other questions, we can have more conversation about business or anything else you have questions about. Thanks again for being here tonight. Thanks for watching this recording. If you're watching after the fact, best of luck in this class. And again, please reach out if you have questions along the way. Email, office hours. I'm here to help you learn. Thank you.